Good afternoon, all. Thank you for this joining for this workshop. And this workshop is a little unique. It is in a blended mode. So we have around 55 people in the Google Meet and 60 people, 60 plus students in the physical mode. So I request our head of EC group to welcome the session first.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So today I welcome you to join this workshop on digital twin and industrial automation. This workshop is co-sponsored by DST and UKIERI of India. So today we have our director, Professor G. Kannabiran, Triple-IT CCT. Along with that, we have dignitaries from Middlesex University, Professor Balbir Ban, Professor Ramona Trestian, Professor Huan Nguyen. So, and also we have some invited talks from IIT Kharagpur in today's workshop. So I request all the participants, especially students who are attending this workshop, to to participate and learn from the talks that are given by eminent professors in this workshop. Okay, so as I understand, digital twin from the word, it indicates a virtual representation of a physical object in different shapes, size, motion, gesture, etc. So more discussion on the technicalities of this topic will be discussed in today's workshop. So on this note, I invite our director, Professor G. Kannabiran, to give a talk before proceeding with the other dignitaries.
All right. Good afternoon to all of you, and good morning to those who have joined from the UK. Dr. Shiva Prasad, head of the group, Dr. Rishikesh, Dr. Rajavar Prasad, and the other invited speakers, both from India and UK. Good afternoon to all of you. I'm very happy to be part of this, hybrid workshop, which is being organized by the EC group on a very important topic on digital twins and applications. As Dr. Shiva Prasad is saying, indicating that these are topics very relevant from an industry standpoint, as well as from a research standpoint. And there's a lot of research going on all over the world in this particular topic. And industry interface is very important to realize better value out of these research works. Therefore, workshops like this will lead to better collaboration among the academics as well as with the industry experts, so that we are able to create better industry applications. I'm happy that Ms. Geeta Gopalakrishnan has joined, and we have been trying to get her for the previous events. Also, she was not able to participate. I particularly welcome her for this event, and I'm also happy to note that there are speakers from Middlesex University, Professor Balbir is there in the invitation, Mehmet, Professor Huan, and others who have readily agreed our invitation and willing to deliver these sessions today. With these words, I wish that the students and the others who are part of this workshop able to derive value, and that will lead to further research and work in industry applications. Thank you, and it's over to Dr. Rishikesh.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the kind words. with this, we start the workshop. I'm in the classroom, so that will be some echo. I request Dr. Balbir Khan to...
Professor Rishi, there is an echo in your this thing.
No, it will go off once he switches off his mic. Yeah.
So I request Dr. Balbir Khan to give his welcome address.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen very briefly, so just bear with me. I'm not a regular user of Google Meet, so just hold on a minute. Oops. Okay, so I needed to set up permission. So let me just talk to what I want to say. So I want to begin my few minutes, if I may, by first of all thanking everybody for organizing the event. I think it's afternoon in India and the morning in the UK. I think today's event really marks the end of a really important and significant research project between our two universities. However, it does mark the beginning of a much longer relationship, which I hope will be stronger, vigorous, and produce even more great outputs. I mean, from this project, I've already seen some of the work that has emerged, and I think it's fair to say that it's really of high quality and really sets a high bar for future research collaborations between our two institutions. And I think Hrishikesh and Juan should take some pride in what they have achieved with this project. So Juan asked me to really outline how we arrived at the London Digital Twin Research Centre. So I will set out a few remarks about that. So in 2018, the UK government published a report on computational modelling more broadly, and this review was quite influential. It was called the Blackett Review, and it outlined the importance of the use of computational modelling tools and environments to support important decision-making contexts. And then, of course, in 2021, the government in the UK also published a research and innovation strategy, which was designed to put the UK at the centre of innovation in technology. And at the heart of this strategy was the idea of digital twins. And at the same time, the UK government also began appointing significant civil servants to manage the digital twin program across the UK. Now, whether it's by accident or by design, I think it's fair to say in 2019, we as a faculty of science and technology recognized that there was work that was going on which could be broadly interpreted within the field of digital twins. And so in 2019, we set up the London Digital Twin Research Centre, which was a collaboration between two of the departments within the Faculty of Science and Technology, and now it is more broadly engaging with the wider university. And the project and the centre has served to showcase a range of projects, particularly led by Juan's area in engineering and mathematics, and of course, this research project funded through UKIERI is a centerpiece of that work. The centre has developed a number of project spaces in application domains from Industry4 zero automation, health monitoring of large infrastructures, architectural heritage, the connected curriculum, i.e. learning and teaching, and also the modelling and simulation of organisations. So it really represents a broad spread of application areas for what could be seen as digital twins. Now, digital twin research, however, has a more important role for the university, and we see this as and the centre as a key driver for developing professional development programs, particularly. So we see very few initiatives in digital twin education, particularly around the design of digital twins, methodologies to support it. So we anticipate that industry in particular will value professional development in digital twins. So we see our research and knowledge that we have gained from projects such as this one being translated into knowledge exchange and being translated into professional programs. We also see how digital twin research can also become quite an important and key component of higher education programs, particularly at master's level and also at a doctorate level. And in particular, we think perhaps working with yourselves, we could see a market of doctorate programs in India targeting the many, tens of thousands of IT graduates that are recruited annually into the Indian IT industry. The DT, the digital twin, is very much part of our university research themes, and so we see it playing a key role in a much broader international collaboration with yourselves in India in particular, and also elsewhere. And as Juan, I'm sure many of you know, has some really good collaborations with other countries, including Vietnam. So in summary, really, what I want to say is that this project is a small step in our collaboration and in our combined work in digital twin research. We see digital twin as potentially a domain agnostic technology which could be applied to many areas, and of course it comes with a range of research challenges, of which data integration, behavior modeling, human and socio-technical aspects of digital twins are relatively neglected. And I think what we can do through this project and others is to carve out an important research agenda for the future. And I look forward to listening to many of the great presentations this afternoon/morning, and to see how we can develop collaboratively and going forward a program that we can continue this really good, strong relationship that we have now developed. So thank you for listening to me, and I'm happy to pick up any questions in the chat sessions and talk briefly with you as we go through the rest of the afternoon and morning. Thank you. I'll pass you back to Hrishikesh.
So next talk is on digital twin modeling at London Digital Twin Research Center. I invite Professor Juan and Dr. Ramona to deliver their learnings, knowledge, and their experiences in this digital twin modeling. So over to you, Professor Juan. Professor Juan is the director of London Digital Twin Research Center, and he's also our collaborator in this research project. Over to you, Professor Juan. Thank you.
Thank you, Raja. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, let me, as Bobby said, we normally don't use Google Meet, but then I'm trying to share the screen.
Some background from the department's point of view. My name is Mehmet Karamanoglu. I'm a professor of design engineering and mathematics, and then also head of department. I'm also part of the research group and got some input into the center. And I think a lot of the work that the center does sits within my department, and then perhaps I could elaborate in terms of the impact that it had in the department and our working and the direction of what we do in terms of not just research but also the academic programs. While Juan gets himself ready, I'll try and fill that gap. Digital Twin Research Center started, as Barbara mentioned, in 2019, but we've been working with industry on similar areas for a longer time than that. But what happened is that because of the creation of this focused activity in research, it changed the way that we do things in terms of planning our work, the research direction that's now a bit more focused. But we're very also critical that it has a direct impact on our undergraduate and postgraduate provision. So teaching really needs to be linked to what the centre does. So as a result, there's been a number of changes in the last 2 years. So a lot of the work that we do with Digital Twin, it started with the manufacturing sector with cyber physical systems and smart factories that I think Juan and Romano were talking about. But it really sort of filtered down to even undergraduate level. So we now teach this in the second year students on engineering programs, but also had an impact on postgraduate, so that we're now bringing on stream two new postgraduate programs, mechatronic systems engineering, and also automation and digital manufacturing will be new programs from September this year. So those will be the impact of that this center is having now on not just the research that it does, but also the impact that it has on the academic programs, which is quite important for us. Gives a bit more, I suppose, return investment back into the roots of what the university starts. The other things that we're also doing, which you may not know at this point, is that Middlesex is very active in competitions. And the reason why we offer competition is that it allows our students to get engaged and work at industry level. So the competitions that we take part in and actually organize to run are part of the World Skills competitions. These are international competitions that all countries take part in. And we have now, we've been running mechatronics for 12 years now as the UK organizers, and our students take part in these, and then they compete at international levels. We're also starting something called automation at the UK national level, and that's going to lead on to a new international competition called Industry 4.0. So that's been developed in Germany, but we're now aligning our provision so that it leads up to that as well, so that our students will now be able to not just get degrees in areas to do with automation and manufacturing, but also have the practical expertise and experiences in working with technologies that are now is part of what we see also as a result of the digital twin modeling. And that also goes back, I mean, I think Bob also mentioned something called connected curriculum, which is teaching and learning related. That was a project that started 3 years ago with our industry partners, Siemens and Festo. They're the dominant sort of industries that support automation and manufacturing around Europe. That they dominate about 80% of the industry. And we've been selected by them to become the leaders in leading the other institutions in the UK. So we run a pilot scheme for the first 2 years, so that we can then show how we use our teaching methods, which is largely hands-on practical skills, and how we use those technologies to enhance curriculum that aligns the graduates for the jobs of the future in industry. So they're not for jobs for now, but for jobs for in the future. But that future, I think, fast approaching. As you know, these things are now quite exponential in terms of how it's developing. So what was there 2 years ago is now, I think, becoming much more realistic and expected. So what I'm trying to say is that what the centre has done for us, it wasn't just that we've got a few research projects which are funded externally, but those projects actually develop our knowledge and understanding and filtered down to the grassroots level, I'll call it, to influence how we teach and what we teach for our undergraduate and postgraduate students. So there's a direct impact in terms of the wider education that we offer, as well as prepare graduates fit for purpose for the areas that we're trying to develop through the research. Juan, are you ready to take over?
Absolutely, Mehmet. Thank you very much for helping me while I'm trying to
problem.
get through the technical problem. And hopefully later on, when we try to show the video, we can show the audio as well.
Yeah, I can
But,
see. Over to you.
Yep. Okay, thank you, Mehmet, and hopefully that you already heard what Mehmet had to say about our research center, how it related to the automation, robotics, and all the other things at our Department of Design Engineering. So, but the research center, at the research center, we have a lot of activity on digital twin research. And this is one of the activity, this project, the UKIERI project that we have been doing with our partner, IEEE from 3City. So let's just go directly to what we have been doing, what's the outcomes, and so really we want to share with you. Just briefly about the project for anyone that is new to this. The project is about automation, maintenance, and monitoring for Industry 4 smart factory. And we try to achieve, we try to create like near real-time digital twin of a physical process in manufacturing industry, where we take a case study of the smart factory, the state-of-the-art smart Siemens Festo Industry 4 CPS available at our Middlesex University. So we focusing on, okay, when we try to create a digital twin model of that, we try to do all the things that we normally do with evaluation, debugging, and then try to see if how fit, how close the digital model to the actual one. And then from on, as has been mentioned by our previous speaker, we can do a lot of the other things like faulty detection, predictive maintenance, and other things in manufacturing. Okay, so I have to acknowledge that we would like to say thank you to our funder, which is the Department of Science and Technology from the Indian government for the Indian side, and for the UK side, it is a UK Indian Education and Research Initiative. They are the funders for this project. And we also would like to thank our industrial partners, Siemens Festo, and companies from India as well, which later on, maybe Rishi can share in more detail. So yes, that's the objectives. And what about the outcomes? I don't want to start this with any skill, but we have to state the fact that a lot of activities we couldn't do due to this obvious situation with the pandemic. Everyone knows we planned to travel, even to travel to India, but we couldn't do that. So we have to adapt our work. We didn't stop there. We didn't take that as an excuse, but we adapt the situation to the situation. And we work mainly online. The two teams from India, we work a lot on Zoom, on the other online platform. And so still a lot of outcomes we achieve. We still feel like this is a successful project. And so what have we done? So you can see here, we summarize some of the things we have done, the key things we've done, that we developed a digital twin of the smart factory for the line monitoring and the maintenance purpose. We can show, hopefully, we can show a live demonstration, but if not possible with the live setup, then we show you a video of that. Okay, so the work from the project, also, I would like to think that we have launched our London Digital Twin Research Center at Middlesex University. This is like the leading hub on digital twin research in the UK, and I think that is a very good contribution from the project to the launch of our research center in the UK here. And yes, we also show with the disseminate the project outcome with the video, which we will show later. And the workshop, okay, we said that we have done a lot of things. We mentioned about the pandemic. We couldn't invite speaker. We couldn't organize the in-person workshop, but at least we still managed to do 4 workshops. And one of them we managed just before the pandemic, and in March 2020, where we invited 60 to 80 participants coming from the UK and from our Indian partner, and a lot of industrial partners, speaker to come to join us for the event of DigitalTwin on global digital transformation. And also the RealC Research Center will launch at this event. But after that, it's all about the online workshop. And we organize 2 in the UK, 2 in India. And this is one of them, and the one today. Okay, so also we contribute to the conferences, international conferences. We try to disseminate our research outcome on digital twin. Like we organize 2 panels and special section at the conference. You can see there, like the digital twin for the future at the International Smart City Conference 2021. And we organize a special section on digital twin as part of the ICT conference as well. And we gave some keynotes talks to just disseminate our project outcomes to show that how digital twin can help with the smart monitoring in Industry 4 or smart manufacturing. And also importantly, we have to say that we managed to train 16 research assistants and students in this project, which is a number I have to say that we are quite proud of, given the situation. And we mentioned a few names in there. Okay, and also that we contribute to the patent and the partnership, especially with the industrial partner and other organizations that very relevant to the digital twin technology. Few names coming up here. You can see like Festo, Siemens, our usual long-term partners, and we managed to get sponsor and partnership with ANSYS, Ericsson, Schlumberger, and especially I mentioned some organization, you know, the Connected Curriculum and the National Digital Twin Program in the UK, and also the Digital Twin Consortium from the North America. And okay, so one thing I will mention later on, but I would like to think that the project do not stop here, even though we say that today we're closing the project, but our activity, our collaboration go beyond this. We already managed to secure further funding to carry on our collaboration. You can see that the 2 projects on the Going Global Partnership Program from British Council. So we're so happy with that because we can carry on what we has been doing. And for the research guiding, of course, every single project, we have the intensive research program, and now we managed to publish 16 papers on this. A lot of them are on the top tier IEEE journals. So the list here, I don't want to go through detail, but you can see all the list accepted is 10 papers, and currently under review, we got another 6 papers showing all our research outcome from the project, whether that is a digital twinning framework for Industry 4, or it's about the smart manufacturing designs, even for machine health monitoring, all those things. If you are interested in any of them, feel free to contact us. We will share with you all the outcome. So now we'd like to show a little bit more detail. Of course, we don't have time to show too much detail, but still a little bit more technical with this. So I'd like to hand over to my colleague, co-investigator of the project, Dr. Ramona Stretchin. So Ramona, it's up to you now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Juan. So just we wanted to go over the main idea of the project and how this project and collaboration came to life. So it happens that at Middlesex University, we have this Festo cyber physical factory, which is a small scale product assembly line, and is used for academic purposes and research as well. So at that time, this digital twin concept picked up, and we were just thinking, what about applying this digital twin concept to our smart factory? So the idea was to have, on one side, we have the real cyber physical system, and to create this digital model of the CP lab. So we created this virtual product on the other side, but now the digital twin will be the interconnectivity between these two. So you have this circle with continuous improvement. So the real CP lab will send like maintenance history data, operational data, real-time operational data, or aggregated data to the virtual model. And then at the virtual model side, we can use different statistical models or machine learning algorithms, and then impose some optimized operations in the real physical system. So in this way, you can go from the virtual production to the real production for an ideal delivery. Now, it's worth to mention here that this digital twin can work alongside the physical real system for providing like optimization operations and so on. But you can also use it as a simulator. Now, when you want to add, for example, new modules to your production line, before going into investing into these modules, you want to simulate what will happen, how will the productivity be impacted by adding new modules. So if we move on to the next slide, Juan, please. So this CB lab consists, in fact, of two production cells, and we call them these islands. And these islands are connected through an automated guided vehicle, and we call it Robotino. And each production cell has 3 stations that perform individual assembly tasks. So, for example, you start with the order assignment, then you have the station that does the placement of the lower cover of the product, then it moves on to the next station that does the placement of PCB and fuses, which in fact is a manual station, and this is the only manual station in this production line. And then it moves on to the next station that will do the image-based inspection for accuracy, and it moves on to the Robotino that will take it to the second island, where we have the upper cover assignment, then the pressure-based closing of the case, and the heat chamber-based sealant melting, and then you have the product that is ready. So it's in fact assembly line for a mock mobile devices, we call it. So if we move on to the next slide, we can see some details on one of the islands. So we see that each island, as I said, it will have 3 stations that do different operations, different tasks. And we have several sensors involved here. So we have the RFID reader, we have the capacitive location sensor, you have the traction-based carrier tray stopper. So the product will be mounted on this product carrier tray that will go from station to station on the conveyor belt. And what we've done, like to create this digital twin, we connected all these sensors to the ones corresponding in the digital models. And then you have the interconnectivity between this, like the physical model and the digital model that will form this digital twin. Now, the next slide, this is just the demos. On the upper side, we have the real physical lab, and on the lower window there we have the digital twin, but you'll have a demo in the next sessions, like the students are invited to show you a real demo in the next session.
Absolutely, Ramona. Yes, we want to leave this for you. Maybe you have to wait a little bit more for this, and hopefully that, as I said, if the setup in the live demo is possible, we show you live. But if not, we will come back to the video for you because there is some, given the situation with the COVID situation, the access to the lab, and few things going on. So, but hopefully still we can make it. Let me stop this video and then we go to the next slide. And as Ramona said that, okay, that's a part of the setting up a digital twin, trying to monitor our cyber physical system there. And she mentioned a lot about industrial IoT sensors in there. So one part of that, okay, getting the data, monitoring live the system is one thing of our digital twin, but what to do with the data, how we can make it better, that is the second thing that, okay, in our digital twin and designs. So we also try to do something with our sensor, with the industrial IoT devices. So let's assume that in there you see that there are two islands representing maybe two manufacturing processes plus the mobile robot in there. So in our example here, that we can do a lot more with other sensors. So we also gone to the fundamental research that we design in this particular case, for example. And then this fundamental research, we try to go back to our digital system, whether we can, to see if we can implement that. So one example of that here I want to show you, that is the machine health monitoring using the IoT devices. For example, in this figure, you can see that there are three manufacturing processes. Each of them will have like a number of IoT sensors in there, monitoring the situation, keep sending information to the data center. But we're just not happy with just sending the data to the data center. We can also try to decide that, can the sensor send something else as well, apart from the normal information, the sensor information. So in this case, we integrate one of the ideas that, okay, what about if the sensor recognizing that one of the manufacturing process or maybe production line has some issue, okay? Because at the end of the day, we try to monitor the system. We want to see that anything wrong, everything normal with our manufacturing processes. So if the sensor pick up something that unusual, like higher temperature, or maybe the system is not working well, or it needs maintenance in some way of certain components, then we try to send that secondary information to the system as well. So the idea is that it is one of the ideas we propose that, okay, we use the power domain. What about that when one of the manufacturing process or the system recognize that something is not right, it immediately lower the power, transmission power. Okay, for example, you can see that on the right hand side, the 3 frames in there, and the middle one is normal, nothing wrong with that manufacturing process. But the first process and the third one, there is something wrong. So suddenly you can see that the drop of power level. So now with that, it's just example here, there are 3 frames representing the 3 processes, right? So, and at the receiver, when you receive something like this, can we recognize something here? Can we read into the situation? Oh, something is not right. Rather than that, the 3 state of 0, 0, 0. Now we receive something like 101. Can you recognize what I mean? 101 meaning that, okay, something is not right with the first and the third manufacturing processes. But because we use the domain, power domain here, it's not easy to recognize that. So we have to use machine learning algorithm. In particular, the case here, we use autoencoder module as a receiver to try to recognize the pattern of our waveforms. Okay, so using machine learning definitely can improve the accuracy of the situation. We don't want to have any false alarms or misdetection in this case of the situation. So I don't want to go into too much detail of the equation here, mathematical equation, because if you are interested in that, I'm happy to talk to you in another talk maybe. But the situation that, okay, we achieve quite accuracy the detection of anything wrong with our cyber physical system or our manufacturing system. Okay, and like over 90% and over even 95% of that situation, that it can read very well the situation if something wrong with our manufacturing processes. At the same time, to keep the primary purpose, that is sending information, sensor information to the data center. Because that's the main purpose, we cannot compromise that and still keep a good level of compromise here. Okay, so with that now, because not much time left, but I still want to show you that the video we made about the whole process, the whole project. But as I said, again, you need to bear with me how I am going to open it.
Connectivity between these 2 models and creates a digital twin.
We have used data analytics-based modeling, clustering techniques, etc., to identify the anomalies, and importantly, use the robotic arm or a robotic-based processes to increase the efficiency and improve the overall manufacturing process.
What is that for? You have the monitoring of the system to optimize the processes, including how we can detect any potential damage, and also we can optimize the life cycle of the system.
You can collect all this data and analyze it, apply different machine learning solutions. So for example, you can add more stations to the production line, but before doing that, you can use your digital twin to test or to simulate what will be the benefits of adding a new station, or what happens if you add a new module to your smart factory before going into actually investing in that module.
We has been funded by the UK government in the UK Indian Research and Education Initiative.
Now, to be able to do this, a lot of companies need to put infrastructure in place, as well as train staff.
As our students ready to become the next generation workforce who got sufficient skill to be able to take on the new technology.
Middlesex is very pleased to be part of a very small consortium across the UK, which is focused on the idea of the connected curriculum, a collaboration that has been initiated by Siemens. The idea of this connected curriculum is to deliver skills-based training and education for students to gear them for Industry 4.0.
The centre is there to enhance our knowledge and pass that knowledge onto our curriculum and our undergraduate and postgraduate students. What Siemens wants out of this is that to take this approach in terms of practice-led teaching and connecting industry practice with academic studies, so that we don't teach students in isolation from industry. We allow our students to take risks, try things, they get things wrong, but they learn from that. And the more mistakes they make here, the better they're prepared for outside world.
Okay. Good afternoon, all. We start the next session. I request all the students in the other room to come back. So, thank you again. Thank you again, all, for joining back. So just for those who have joined later, I just want to tell you that it's a blended learning workshop. We have around 60 to 70 participants in online mode and 73 people in the offline, in the physical class. So since I'm going to speak now, the students are sitting there and through the projector. Thank you, Dr. Huan. If the students have any questions, we'll probably come back to you with their questions to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you can stop presenting, Dr. Huan, we'll come back to, we'll start the next session. The next session is mine. So I'll, so we're already running slightly behind schedule, so I'll try to keep it short. So my topic here is on anomaly detection part mainly, and of course we started with digital twin. So myself, Dr. Rishikesh Venkatraman, and my colleague Dr. Varaprasad, who is the co-PI from the Indian side. So I'll just give a little bit different perspective. You know, I want to give a survey. When we started this project, we did a survey on what is digital twin, cyber physical systems, the Indian industries. And then we did a case study with an Everton, which is a tea manufacturing plant located in Sri City in India. And we, in fact, we had a couple of good discussions. 3 of our students actually started working with them. And then we actually developed a technique called CATS for an anomaly detection. So I'll slightly skip a little bit things. So for example, today when we are talking of a next generation smart factory, it's not just about the processes, but it also about, you know, involving robots or cobots, which is like a collaborative robots that you saw in some of the previous sessions as well, right? But we just took this to begin with, and then we went and talked with different industries and, you know, SMEs. If for those who are not aware, I want to tell that in India, the SMEs, that is the small and the medium enterprises, constitute more than 70 to 75% of the actual manufacturing in India. Of course, you have the big players doing manufacturing, but if you look at, Tamil Nadu small scale manufacturing, Andhra small scale manufacturing, MIDC, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation. So they are the people who will do the bulk manufacturing aspect. Like, for example, they'll be manufacturing spare parts for automotive companies, or any, for L&T, for Boeings and Alstoms, and so on and so forth. So we wanted to see, when we are trying to bring in CPS or a digital twin, there is a lot of IT or ICT, information and communication technology aspect, that we wanted would be coming in there. So we carried out a survey with 103 participants, of course, mostly from 20 to 40 age group, mainly because we found that they are the people who will be going to the industry soon, or they're already there for last 5-10 years, still young blood, ready to embrace technology. Right. So you see that actually we have around 23% who are MNCs and 18% who are technology startups. Right. We just looked at, I'll briefly go through this. We looked at organizations which are mainly across the spectrum, but around 35% was somebody who are in organizations that were more than 1,000 people. At the same time, some big industries like L&T, manufacturing, things like that, which are around 50% there. The others had more than one branches. Right. Now comes the actual questions. We actually asked them that, do you use any collected data that you collect for any kind of analysis or insight generation to enhance the manufacturing process? Of course, this survey was done in 2020 beginning, so it's still around 18 months old, almost 16 months. But we expected a slightly better answer because the COVID has just come in. But 47% said no. They have not done any kind of analysis from the data collected. And even if they did the human interaction in the daily manufacturing operations, that was mainly at the end of the batch. So 46% said that mainly at the end of the batch, they would do some analysis. Right. And then we actually went on to ask, would you like to incorporate digital twin or cyber physical systems to begin with in your manufacturing or the solution process? Around half, 45 to 47% actually said we need more information on what is digital twin. So that's something that was very intuitive to a certain extent, but at the same time, very eye-opener that yes, the people, the academia, the research organizations are talking of digital twin, the IBMs and the Accentures, but at the same time, the manufacturing industries, even though we are talking of 20 to 40 age group, they are still not aware of what is digital twin. In fact, we also asked another question after a few questionnaires that we want to use digital twin to detect anomalies in the manufacturing process. And again, we got almost the same answer by saying, we need more information on digital twin before giving any comments. Just that there is a slightly increased percentage who said, yeah, maybe, yes. Right. But then we asked them that, would you want to use digital twin or develop an innovative solutions to that? Again, the response was very, very slow, in the sense 30% of people said probably after 7 years, and 12% said around 3 to 7 years time frame. Right. So nobody was ready to jump in. When we digged up further, we realized that the person who wants to jump in are more of the technology enablers. Right. So this actually shows us that in India, though we are talking of digital twin and cyber physical systems, smart manufacturing, when we actually go down to the small scale industries level, people are still not aware. They are very reluctant. They don't want to, because they really don't see the benefits of getting there. So it's only after that we said, okay, no, we will probably go and talk to companies, have workshops and so on. Now, before we actually go on to some of the anomalies, I just want to present a use case that we actually network.
Hello,
can you guys?
I look. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so we actually looked at what we can do in terms of, we didn't start with digital twin with them. We said what we want to do in order to improve their process, because they still had a semi-automated manufacturing company. And then we actually looked at their entire tea bag making process, starting with the threads, the amount of tea powder to put, the paper bags, the sealing of the paper bag. Some of the pictures, no, I mean, I'm not allowed to show, so probably I'm not going to go on to them. But then this is an image of an actual tea manufacturing where you are combining the thread, where you are tying the thread to the bag, where the paper bag where the tea powder is going to be put, right? And then from there we actually made the block diagram of, okay, how the process is, right? So then the tea and the herbs, so there are different types of teas, hundreds of varieties. Even in a week they make at least 8 to 10 varieties. And then you have a blender machine, which is the first step in the process. And then you have this actual automated machine, which typically costs around 400,000 euros, which is where you have the tea powder coming in, filter paper, the cardboard bag, the thread, and then the tea bags are knitted with the tacks, and then you put the outer layer of the plastic or the paper, and then once the packing is done, you actually put it in it comes out, and then there is a person who puts it in the box, which is manually done typically. Once these boxes are there, it is sent to the put it in what do you call it? Every box is weighted, and if it's an underweighted box, it is rejected, and then each set of 8 to 10 box are put it in a carton, and then it is sealed and then shipped. So the amount of human interaction was very less. But at the same time, what we actually realized is that this machine, this part of the process where the machine takes the tea powder, the filter paper, the cardboard bag, and the thread, there are a lot of errors that come into play. Why the errors come into play or the anomalies come into play is a couple of reasons. There are a lot of reasons, but a couple of main reasons. One of the point is that the thread doesn't get tied properly to the tea bag. Eventually what happens, it makes a hole on the tea bag, and then the entire tea which went inside the tea bag actually comes out. Second is that the tea bag doesn't get fitted onto the actual cover. The third is the amount of tea powder, which is actually very difficult to analyze. The amount of tea powder that goes inside the bag is little less or little more. In fact, according to them, little more is not an issue, but little less is a significant issue, because then it cannot be actually further processed, right? So these are some of the anomalies that gets carried forwarded, because of which the entire box or sometimes the entire carton has to be rejected. So this is one of the problems that they faced. The second is, of course, they wanted to optimize on the power bill that they were getting. So many of these raw materials were actually stored in a cold storage, and the cold storage was up 24/7, and it used to give them huge power bills. So, but then we actually bought out a process where the minimum temperature is 8 degrees. So we actually said, okay, what is the thing that we could do is we could actually bring it to 6 degrees, and then we turned off the cold storage till it comes back to say 9 degrees. So it was not on 24/7, but it was mostly on 16 to 17 hours. And then into 7 days. So which significantly around almost 30% bill reduction in the bill that came in the process. Having got those inputs, in order to comprehend and understand the behavior, we developed a model of this entire manufacturing process using AnyLogic software tool. It's basically recreating whatever I showed in the previous slide into this year. The idea was to simulate and find out how we can actually get statistics of the number of anomalies or the number of errors that we are getting, especially in the blending and the dosing combine, especially in the paper folding stage, in the stage where you are tying the thread or the cardboard tag, which you can probably see here in the bottom figure. Right now, once we do that, we wanted to send this information of there's any error that may occur to to a central location where somebody who is sitting either in the Everton's office here or not in the shop floor, but in the office or in the main headquarters, they can see what is the error, they can see the pattern of the error. So that's where we actually put, so this is where some of 3 students actually did their BTech project as well, where we actually gathered this information and then fed it through the using an MQTT wireless protocol on an indoor environment. And then we fed all this information on the Raspberry Pi. And once we get this information, we did some analysis in terms of what could be the potential errors. Once we are able to compute and we are able to provide some insights, we this information from the Raspberry Pi was fed to the server, and using which we actually give the internet so that it is available to see even remotely. So this is something that we had actually done. But here I want to, before I go on to the little bit more math on the anomalies, I just wanted to tell you the different anomalies. So probably I'm running out of time, but I'll just show you some of the anomalies. You can see that we had the, you can see that there is a screen, display screen, which actually tells you what are the reasons for the anomalies. No filter bag in the outer envelope, or faulty filter paper tube, thread knot anomalies, and so on. And this is the, these are the most important anomalies that we actually get onto it. So from this, we actually wanted to see whether we can reduce the number of anomalies, right? So, and just to tell somebody is that what is an anomaly is an event diverting from the normal behavior, right? So, probably I will just take a couple of minutes more and then just explain you what we have done in terms of yeah, so we used a clustering-based technique, which probably you heard in the video as well. Of course, right now we are using an n-step technique, but at an initial stage, we used a 2-step approach. We tried out different techniques like density-based spatial clustering, local outliers, KNN, and so on. And then we eventually, based on the performance is in terms of the number of outlier detection and the time taken to find out the outliers, right? So we then use different clustering techniques. The first step, we used a DB scan, which will generate the clusters and then able to detect the outlier elements, right? So once this coarse outlier identification is done, we then did a refined search to detect the residual outliers, right? And then you can see that at the first stage with the clustering with the DB scan, most of the anomalies you can detect and you can cluster it into groups. Based on which you can detect what is to be done at the next stage. So you can see with different colors that the anomalies were grouped into different clusters. But of course, you can see that there are some points which are like outside these clusters or outside this circular region, right? So they are something that the first step could not really detect. So then we use the next step. It is to refine the search with the in the step 2, where we actually use a neighborhood connectivity mechanism to find out what are these different anomalies which are not detected in the step 1. So we then also did some simulation just to have a comparison. We took 3,000 data points across 20 clusters, and we wanted to limit the time taken to around 90 seconds. And the outliers were like between starting with 10% to 25%. So you can see that if I plot what we got in terms of the outliers in the x-axis, 10% to 25% with the outliers in the accuracy in the y-axis, we can see that around till 16% or so, we were still getting very good accuracy with 2-step approach. After that, it actually comes down very significantly from 97% to 82%. And then, of course, you will not have typically more than 25% outliers. The manufacturing process itself will be rejected there. But then, right now, we are working on improving this 19 to 25% outlier, where we have 80 to 83% accuracy, by increasing the n-step approach, or having the 3rd step or the 4th step. But then that, of course, increases the time taken. But then, I want to end with the point that the overall time taken that we have is minimum is 53 seconds to maximum is 88 seconds. So within 1.5 minutes, we are able to identify the outliers, all the outliers that is there, even using an n-step approach. So I hope you will be able to get some idea on what we have done in terms of the identifying the outliers in the Everton tea manufacturing process. And the Everton is just one use case that we had. So what we can actually do is that, this can be replicated across many manufacturing companies. And these are very simple techniques, very simple thing that could be done so that the manufacturing companies can actually improve their manufacturing efficiency. So with that, I'm told by Dr. Varaprasad that I'm kind of exceeding time. So I'll stop here. We'll share the slides later. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please type, or you may also ask me anytime later in these email addresses. We'll be very happy to answer.